Mr. David Suarez. He gave a great presentation here today at the DG's World Class Civil Service Leadership talk here held at the Hartwell Theater. Mr. Suarez, it's great having you and your team here in the Cayman Islands. So when you first got that call asking you to come and speak to what is literally thousands of civil servants, only a few hundred leaders here today, what did you think about that when you got that call?
First of all, really excited. Excited because we get all sorts of different challenges in terms of working with different groups that are put in front of us day after day. So to work with civil servants, people who are helping others and also representing a government and representing a country, that's exciting. Yeah. That's not something that comes on your table every single day of the week. You know, usually we're working with large corporations and that's standard fare, but when a government comes calling and says, hey, work with our civil servants, that's exciting. So.
Yeah. So what about the expectations for you as a group when you were coming here? What were you expected to do for the people who were going to be in this room today?
The clear expectation, there were two things specifically that we were given and that we really wanted to focus on. The first one is to make sure that everybody had a great time. If everybody left here feeling like, wow, that was really wonderful, I had a good time, that means that everything on the second piece that we're trying to achieve, which is how to really address some key challenges that confront us in regards to communication, but also how to build those skills. Well, if you're not having a good time, you're not going to be as receptive to building those skills. So that was a big thing for us. Let's get people laughing, having fun, and then let's feed them with some really great skills that they can take with them and use here in the government and for Cayman Islands.
Yeah. One of the privileges for me being in the room today was being able to look at each piece that you and your team role played. That was humorous, but there was a message behind everything for me as an employee of the government. How did you guys go about planning that though? I mean, you know, yes, you have the humor there, you have, you know, kind of let your hair down, this is what we're going to do, we're going to have some fun, it's going to be interactive, but there was a message there.
Right. So the key thing is that, and it goes back to our methodology. We have three pieces in our methodology. The first one is applied learning, which means learning by doing. So we got everybody doing things right off the bat. So that's one of the key takeaways. We want people doing things. The second thing is what we call experiential learning, which means we want everybody sharing their ideas, their thoughts, their knowledge. And then finally we have improv comedy. So those pieces that help us in improv are great skill builders for communication skills in the workplace. Things like being really great about active listening, being very clear with your intentions, really understanding and valuing people's information and what they bring to the table. All of those things, while they're really important to make people laugh, are really important for people who work together. So that's what we're trying to get home is have fun watching this. Let some of it hopefully sink in subliminally, but then we're going to nail it and really address it in the second half of the program, which is what we did.
Yeah, I know there were a couple of instances where actual civil servants were able to share their stories, but you know, you could feel, and if you know them, you knew that they shied away from using real life experiences in a lot of ways. What do you think about that? Do you encourage that as far as, you know, people using other examples outside of the work life as opposed to people in the room may know what you're talking about, let's use that example?
I think at the end of the day, if we all know that we're coming from a good place and we're trying to help each other and we're trying to become better at what we do in the service of others, if we're coming from that perspective, I think it's very difficult for us to do wrong. If we're coming at this where we feel like there's going to be repercussion or there's going to be consequences, or we're more worried about covering ourselves versus actually doing what we're here to do, the mission, then we keep ourselves from ever getting to those really important moments. And sometimes you have to be able to address the elephant in the room in order to get past the elephant in the room and to take it out of the room. Yeah. If we don't ever address it, how do we ever deal with it? Right. So it's a conundrum, but sometimes you can find really great correlations that are outside of work, which we were able to do today, and then sometimes we went right in and dealt with it.
Right.
So
that leads me to my next question, which is accountability. That seemed to be like the elephant in the room. Yes. The inability or the lack of holding employees accountable and doing it in a way that is reflective of the world-class civil service that we have, which is to build people up and not tear them down while you're having them being held accountable. So yeah, I mean, that's a major issue.
Sure.
So how do you think that overall we can make that next step or take that next step and really listening to what happened on the stage today, but doing it?
Right. So accountability is, and we brought this up at the very end, is a contract. It's a contract that we're going to work and address things to be better. Not only that, I think what we dealt with in terms of some of that trepidation of dealing with the subject of accountability is really about framing the perspective. And the perspective here is about we're here to work together to be that world-class civil service, but also to do it because we care. We don't just care about the organization, we care about each other. And if we're truly going to get better, then we need to hold ourselves accountable. We need to be able to say, all right, you know what? These are some things I really need to address. These are some things we need to address. And in some cases, these are some things you might need to address, but why? And the why is the big part.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? Because we want to be better.
World class.
Right, we want to be world class. And not only that, it's like we mentioned before, this is a community. This is not some large, gigantic country where you don't see the other end of it. We all know each other here. We all play with each other here. We all work together here. So if we're going to be this tightly knit, then we need to take care of each other. And we need to understand it's coming from a good place, that we need to hold each other accountable. And if we do that, it's good. If we're trying to hold each other accountable for the wrong reasons, then it can be destructive.
Right.
Finally, and you mentioned the word takeaway earlier, what do you hope is the major takeaway here today for the civil servants who were in the room?
Major takeaway would be simply this: we are our own best network. We heard some really incredible feedback today from all of these people in the room. So varied, so wonderful, and it's there every other day of the year. It shouldn't just be when you have one of these sessions and we're getting it out of people. This is every day we can lean on each other. This is every day I can ask you for help. I can get some advice from you. You can go out of your way to say, you know what, I see that this is going on. How can I help you get better? And I think that's so important because this is coming from a country and a beautiful place where you have so many wonderful things for people to come here for. So we have a huge level of customer service. Customer service is about how can I help you? Let's be good customer servants to ourselves. And that's the big piece. I mean, at the end, we take care of each other. We're brothers and sisters. So,
All right, David Suarez, it's been a pleasure.
thank you so much,
Thank you
Donna.
so much.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.